Every once in a while, you see just how easy it is to manipulate the American people, to take seemingly smart, wonderful, thinking human beings and turn us into puppets, sheep, lemmings, or perhaps all three combined into some sort of sheepings. I mean, individually, people are great, but in groups, they do things like make Transformers the #1 movie on the planet. It's just explosions and then explosions and some and it's based on an action figure for 6-year-olds, all right? It's because toddlers like cars and they like guns, and so they put the guns on the cars. It's not meant for adults! A year ago, you might recall, the American people were against bombing in Syria. We were tired of bombing other countries, tired of death and disaster. According to polls by the Washington Post and ABC News, only 30% of America supported bombing in Syria a year ago. And in June of this year, only 45% of Americans supported bombing in Iraq. And then something funny happened. This.
Massacre if those ISIS terrorists break through.
Overrun by ISIS.
Convert them or kill them.
ISIS in particular.
The Islamic State.
ISIS.
ISIS.
They are like a medieval army.
Well, not funny, ha-ha. More of a funny, holy our media lost their damn minds like a diseased coyote in the desert heat. So what happened after the ISIS media onslaught that made the Geico advertising seem like a casual mention? The percentage of Americans supporting bombing in Iraq skyrocketed to 70%, and those in favor of bombing Syria jumped to 65%. When our government and media want to manufacture consent for endless murdering, they know how. They have it down to an art, like Serena Williams with a cross-court forehand, or this lady with that thing she's doing, down to an art. Like Dick Cheney with lying, or these people bending like that, down to an art. Media, manufacturing consent, down to an art. Like that dude, whatever's going on there, right? Or here, you know, down to an art. And it's come out now that some of the threats they told us about have already been proven false. Glenn Greenwald reported this week that the Khorasan group, which were supposed to be worse than ISIS, were made up. Government officials just created it out of their imagination, like the Muppets, or SpongeBob SquarePants, or Mark Zuckerberg's respect for privacy, or other imaginary things. So we're bombing in the Middle East for a make-believe reason. Why does that sound familiar? Oh, right. Right, that's why it sounds familiar. Well, this time we found out we went to war for false reasons within a few weeks. Last time it was like years. So you know what that's called? Progress. Here's my point. Clearly, the mainstream media can manufacture consent for war. Just imagine if they ever use that unbelievable power to push something positive, something related to creation instead of destruction, like moving past excess consumerism or demanding accountability from the bankers raping and pillaging our society with impunity, or stressing that our lives should be about so much more than slaving for a soulless company, or instituting a maximum age for saying Transformers is your favorite movie. And I don't just mean a little story on one of these topics. I mean pounding away at them day in and day out, the way we do for war. Every day, new reports on what your life should really be about, rather than just the new iPhone. You know, if your current iPhone is working fine, why not stick with that one for another year? I mean, it's not like you're a brain surgeon. You park cars at a parking deck, and the old iPhone works fine for that, all right? You did fine for that. You're not using it to park cars. You're using it to type, hey, babe, when am I going to see that fat again? Which could be sent just as well with the A7 processor versus the new A8 processor. Our mainstream media has the ability to change the world for the better, and instead it highlights war, fear, death, and blind nationalism. Well, I take that back. Once a year, CNN has their CNN Heroes episode, but if you Google CNN Heroes, most of the top photos are of Miley Cyrus. Not kidding. However, she was clearly told to keep her tongue in her mouth during it, so that's something, but I don't know. Does that qualify as being a hero? Really? Probably not. By that metric, Tiger Woods is a hero every time he keeps his dick in his pants. Which has to be a slight devaluation of the term, I feel like. But you get the point, I think.